and someone is being, adherent with the religious tenets and with the belief, it doesn't mean that okay, that particular female in question will not go into promiscuous acts. So those people who their genitalia were removed are still find themselves in these illicit, or let me say, illegal practices.
Okay, so I believe what you're basically saying is it's not reason enough. It's not to justify female genital mutilation.
Even before the advent of Islam and Christianity, people are still promiscuous. I mean, the thing with that.
And there was female genital mutilation there. All right. I'm going to bring it back to you now, Pastor Begunde. What are your thoughts on that? The cultural reason of curbing female promiscuity is one of the biggest reasons why people still practice female genital mutilation. Do you think this is justifiable? Do you think female genital mutilation is justifiable because of this reason?
No. Female genital mutilation cannot prevent promiscuity. Only promiscuity it has to do with mind, the state of mind. What you feed your needs is what you cannot prevent promiscuity. You see, so it's just a fallacy when people and in our area, when I see some people see that if a lady or woman is not does not undergo circumcision, so to say, which is likewise known as female genital mutilation, we see that it will lead them to promiscuity. But it is not. If any lady will be promiscuous, you see, it has to do with the state of that person's mind. That is why we want to suggest the way to our parents. We should train their children on sexual and reproductive health and good moral values to ensure they grow up to be responsible adults. Often will not achieve this. That is my submission.
All right. I see where you're coming from with that, and I understand that particular point of view. But when we're not done yet, we're still talking about this, and it's especially important that we discuss this today. As a matter of fact, we haven't even scratched the surface of this conversation today. Now, there are so many schools of thought that say that sometimes a justification for female genital mutilation is religion. Even in my intro, I said that sometimes, please, Dr. Adams and Pastor Begunde, don't come for me. I'm not the one that said it. Sometimes the excuse is that religion supports it. So I'm going to start with you again, Dr. Adams. Is there anywhere in the Quran that female genital mutilation is explained away, or at least defended, so to speak?
Thank you very much. You recollect that when I started earlier, I said from the beginning to the end of the glorious Quran, there is no any verse or chapter that deals with female genital mutilation. Actually, there are practices before Muhammad was commissioned as apostle of Islam. And those practices were in existence. So when Muhammad got to Medina, and there was a particular woman that is called Atiyah and Ansoriya, who happened to be, let me say, a nurse or medical practitioner as her name, so to say.
Did she used to practice FGM at the time for young girls?
For young girls. So the Holy Prophet now instructed her that if you want to do it, please do it gently and do not, be hard, but don't remove everything, because that particular place, be hard, but don't remove everything, because that particular place is, he used a particular word that Sunatun Rijal wa Mukaramatun Nisa, that is just honor, but don't remove everything totally, don't go deep. Are you to?
I read somewhere that it also says it's pleasurable to the husband.
It's pleasurable to the husband. It's dearly to the husband. Yes, but the point is that hadith, scholars of Islamic traditions of the Holy Prophet find out that the hadith is weak. It's not something that is authentic that you can rely on.
Okay.
And when hadith is da'if, that is what we call da'if, that is weak, the tradition. It means that okay, you cannot use it because there are, it is what we call science of hadith, that is mustalah hadith. There are ways in which you can discover that a particular hadith is da'if. If any hadith is going against or is talking outside what Quran itself dictates, or whatever the Quran does not, and if the Prophet keeps silence on a particular issue and someone is now bringing a hadith, people will now question that particular hadith. And at the same time, if the chain of transmission is broken, that okay, you can say that okay, you collected the hadith from a particular person, and the time that you said you collected that hadith, you have not seen a bone. So who now collected? So those are the areas in which the Madison, that is the scholars of hadith, try as much as possible to look at. But the conclusion, because the reason why we have what we call jurisprudence,
yes,
in Islam is the development of institutions or laws. There are some things that did not happen during the time of the prophets. They will now use what we call analogical deduction, or the consensus of scholars, that this thing did not happen, but at this particular period it happened. They now base their analogical deduction on, is there anything that is similar to it, or what is now the opinion of the jurists. But as far as those hadiths are concerned, they are weak. But the one that are sound that the sound is the one that is from male. When Ali, one of the four Orthodox, said that Akor Rasul, that the Holy Prophet slaughtered Ali Hassan wal Hussein for his two grandchildren, Hassan and Hussein. They are male, and he circumcised them.
So that's so you're saying that the strong hadiths, the hadiths that are practiced today, are the ones that are in support of male circumcision.
Yes, not of FGM. It's not, the hadith is weak.
But do you think that people still base some of their practices today of female genital mutilation based off of this weak hadiths? Do you think it's publicized enough within the religion of Islam that these particular hadiths are weak?
Thank you very much. Like I said, in every religion we have people who are vast, we have some people who are followers. But I think it is not the responsibility of the scholars to bring out some of this issue, because let me tell you one thing. You can hardly see scholars discussing the issue that has to do with law or religion. How many people are vast? How many enough to discuss that?
Okay.
The only area where people can just do is to sermonize, tell people that okay, do this, don't do this. When it comes to especially the contemporary issues, you hardly see scholars. But and I see it as responsibility that scholars who are vast, should not try as possible to discuss the contemporary issues among their followers.
And you think that if this is done, it will enable people to understand the fact that these hadiths are weak, and as a result, it's not something that should be practiced.
Of course, because the follower listen to their
scholars,
yes.
Okay, thank you very much for that description, for that explanation, because I was going to mention that I read that part was mentioned in the Quran and that it was mentioned as weak, but do you think people still practice it?
Well, nothing is mentioned in the Quran. In the Quran, the primary sources of Islamic law is Quran and Hadith. Quran is the first primary, followed by the Hadith. The secondary sources is what I call Qiyas, which is analogical deduction,
which you mentioned.
Then the fourth one is Ijma, the consensus of ulama. But the apex of them all is the Quran. Because that is the revelation, it is the word of God himself. But the inspiration and explanation is done by the prophet.
Okay, I think I'm getting to understand this better. All right, so Pastor Abedina, I'm coming back to you, but let me open the phone lines again. 07000 is the number to call. Today on Let's Talk FGM, we're discussing religion and female genital mutilation. Religion and female genital mutilation. You'd agree with me that this is a bit of a delicate and very sensitive topic, because for some people, the justification for why they still practice female genital mutilation is religion. So we're here to put it to scholars here and experts within each of these main religions in Nigeria to defend and explain basically whether or not female genital mutilation has a place in these religions, and of course for the people who practice these religions. So the number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Do you have any questions as to whether female genital mutilation is permitted in your religion or not? Then the number to call is 07000 917 917. You can also send in a text message or a WhatsApp message to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. This is still Let's Talk FGM on Women Radio 91.7.
He says it all.
Women Radio 91.7.
Yamadora, bring the rock of more. I want that don't come circumcise.
Circumcision no good at all. Then you want destroy your pikin life. Papa Dora. You know say person wey pay somebody to do circumcision. And person wey do the circumcision, now all of them go prison wey fit reach like 4 years, and then fit still even pay 200,000. If you give person contrary advice, say make dem do circumcision, you go still go prison for like 2 years and still pay like 100,000 fine money. E sure say my family that call this law enforcement agents to go arrest you. Wetin dey do no good?
You circumcise the right again. Father, that carry your yama knife from my house. Only self go report you.
Circumcision no good at all. As e dey cause plenty health palava for girls body. My people, if you hear or see person wey wan circumcise any girl, sharply go to law enforcement person near you, or make you call 0812 467 0069. Female circumcision no good. Make we join hands stop am.
Na SCL initiative to stop court projects wey dey funded by United Nations Trust Fund to end violence against women. Bring una this message.
It's 26 minutes past 2 on Women Radio 91.7, and today you're tuned in to Let's Talk FGM. Let's Talk FGM is where we discuss everything pertaining to female mutilation. But today we're focusing on religion and female genital mutilation. Religion and female genital mutilation. You're welcome once again. My name is Tumto Titilayo Ajama. And with me today are two representatives from each of the main religions in Nigeria. I have with me Dr. Keola Adams, Senior Lecturer, University of Ibadan at the Department of Islamic Studies. Thank you once again for joining us. And Pastor Dr. Abegunde, Deputy Chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, Orolu Local Government Area in Osun State. Thank you once again for joining us, Pastor Abegunde.
Thank you, Titi. Alright, this issue of genital mutilation has no basis in the Christian doctrine or the Bible. So the Bible does not mention anything of such. Right away from Genesis to Revelation, nothing is written about it. So, and even the Bible scholar and the researcher, none of them has ever come up with any facts of supporting this evil practices. You see, and as a result of it, since it has no basis in the scripture, there's not much we can even say on it. We come to a point where the Christian leaders met, even the African missionaries. You see, the Christian authority, they agree that the parties has no foundation in Christianity's religion text. And Christian missionaries in Africa were at the forefront of effort to stop it. That is why they were so aggressive in propagating the message or the crusade against genital mutilation. because of the effect, the evil effect of it, which is not, which does not receive any religious blessing. Neither is it biblical. So as a result of this, we don't have any portion of the scripture of our scripture that stipulates that we should, our female ones should be circumcised or the part of their genitals to be removed. No. So in that wise, we have to go angry with the practices.
All right. Thank you very much for that explanation, Pastor Begunde. And another thing that is so important to note, apart from the religious context of it, which we're coming back to, is the health consequences. There are a lot of health consequences of female genital mutilation that are not favorable to the woman. But some people think there are also some medical benefits to female genital mutilation, and some people think that this is why they still practice it. Are you aware, Dr. Adams, that there is no medical benefit and there are a lot of health consequences, negative health consequences for young girls and for women who have had female genital mutilation performed on them?
Thank you very much. Actually, I have read and I've heard from colleagues who are medical practitioners that there are disadvantages as far as female genital mutilation is concerned. When we are talking about female genital mutilation, there is what we call psychological effects. That someone that has it, probably maybe at the small age, will contact, because looking at it, even in Yoruba land, you look at all the instruments that they use can also cause, can bring in, early or later diseases into, female.
Yes.
Because the place is not already covered. It is only men that is covered, that something that can be harmful, to men is being removed, but there's nothing that is being harmful to a female. But religiously, one cannot say that if the religion say that female genital mutilation is not, accepted, and medical practitioners can now say that, okay, because of so reason, we have to do it. Then the religion will now follow what the medical practitioner is saying, because it is advantage to. Now let me tell you one thing. Abortion is the religion vows against it. But it could be done in a certain step if it is about health of the pregnant woman.
Certain cases.
So if
I understand what you're saying now, that if medicine is saying this is right, or it will favor your child in terms of their health, then religion will follow that direction. But because there's no such thing,
a religion, and the religious leaders, they are not medical practitioners, so they have to listen to what they are not medical practitioners, so they have to listen to what the experts is saying as far as the health is concerned.
Okay, so do you think there are any medical benefits?
Actually, I know that medical benefit is that the woman will be physically okay with sexual intercourse. The clitoris will function very well the way it should be done.
If they're cut, if they've done it or if they've not done it.
If it is not done at all.
Okay.
But even the eyes that we use to see, if there is anything that will happen to the eyes, medical practitioner can now prescribe what someone can use. So, but for the effect of that particular medical aspect on the female genital, I think it could be an infection. Because it could not be for all the female. It will just be for just minute percentage, but maybe out of 100 we have just a female that has infection. That infection, if it is removed, then that one is done. But we cannot base that one that female genital mutilation should now be something that should be practiced in our environment.
Okay, but more often than not, there are no cases when a child is born or when a child is growing that there are any cases of infection that would tamper with the female genitalia in a way where something needs to be cut off. that really happens. That is really a case
That's what
where that happens. So more often than not, that would be the regular occurrence. So I hear you with that one. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, Pastor Beginde, I'm going to ask you this now, and this is in line with the fact that a lot of times some people have certain cultural points of view that are still in them even when they are still religious minded, so to speak. So even though they still practice a certain faith, they still have a certain level of cultural doctrines that they still live with, even though they are practitioners or people who practice a certain faith. So since you're a Christian, I'm just going to direct it to you now. Have you heard about any cases where people who are Christians still practice female genital mutilation?
Like my brothers rightly said, you see, these are primitive culture which has to be corrected. You see, anything that is not beneficial to the good living has to be eradicated and stand against in totality. You see, our culture is just what we just perceive. That is just a presumption that if you don't do this, this might likely happen. If you do that, it will result into this. But it has no basis in the religion circle. And you know, some up now as the campaign is being propagated, we still see some people that are adamant that secretly is still engaged in this kind of evil acts, and that is why we need to continue helping this the other effect of these evil practices. You see, they do it secretly, but in the churches, they believe whatever the pastor says is the pastors are regarded as the mouthpiece of God. You see, so they take it seriously. That is why we collaborate with the effort of the health personnel who are preaching against these practices. You see, particularly, that is why we have to approach this NGO, the Ashin Health Initiative. They try a lot in disseminating the information to eradicating these harmful practices. You see, every nook and cranny they are taking this campaign to. You see, they even spent a lot on it by way of making some flyers and making radio broadcasts and even television. Unlike the program we are featuring now, you see, they have spent a lot on it just to eradicate this harmful
practice. Thank you very much, Pastor Beginde. Thank you very much for that. So, coming back to you now, Dr. Adams, you've spoken against female genital mutilation. You've spoken against the fact that some people still do it knowing that, or some people still do it still believing in the cultural perspective. Do you think that, do you, let me just ask, do you publicly preach against female genital mutilation in your religious institution? Does that come up at any point in time?
Thank you very much. You know, I'm in academics, and and we believe in research and argument when it comes to conferences and seminars. But actually, to be candid, people hardly come up with contemporary issues in mosques and even place of worship like Sunday, Asalatu, or whatever. But I know some organizations that they invite scholars, but those who invite scholars is like elites talking to elites. Are you with me? But by bringing the evangelism, let me use that word, of FGM, to the grassroots, where people can understand my language, then I will tell them I don't think that one is happening right now. Okay. Are you with me? Especially because we have to go from one place to the other, from one asalatu, to another asalat, from one Islamic program to another program. And at the same time, you know that every Friday there is sermon or khutbah. Mostly, some of the Islamic scholars that have been listening to their sermons, or if perhaps by adventure I just observe my prayer, we hardly see that they bring contemporary issues. Because the only thing is just to refurbish the soul, telling them about do's and don'ts of the religion. But there are some other things that the only thing they can ask you is don't associate partner with God and don't do evil. Not knowing that there are some other acts that are also evil acts. Are you with me?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
So, like I've said, FGM, various environments, I think the advocacy is low. It is just low, to those people who are, like I said, elites, that they have the information. And information is power.
Yes, which is why it is taken down to people who don't know better.
So now, some people just see religion as a ladder for them to get to wherever they want, just to consult, the religious leader to pray for them, get to where they are. But for them now to adhere to the principle, or let me say the rules and regulations of the religion, they some find it difficult. And that is why the Quran says that you must enter into the religion wholeheartedly, which means that if you say you are a practitioner or you are observing a particular religion, you must also have the understanding, the knowledge of that particular religion. Not that it is only the imam or the pastor that just begin the talking, while you just keep your Quran or your Bible on your bed, or you put it on your pillow so that you'll be safe from evil that will be following you when you are sleeping.
Okay. I think that on a lot of levels answers the question that I asked. But do you think they should speak about this type of contemporary issue, particularly because the aim is to get people to stop it?
Thank you very much. I support, and I made conclusion even before we started the assertion that I support that FGM evangelism should come from bottom to top.
Okay.
I mean, those people that let me use the word general hospitals should be inviting pastors and imams who are versed, who are certified. That you can say this is a scholar that is being certified. But at this general hospital, when nurses are also talking to the pregnant women, because let me tell you, people believe they are imams and pastors than any other person. So when those people are also being invited and they now give them the orientation and sensitize them, tell them that okay, this particular thing is not because before the time of naming ceremony, that the imam will now be telling the mothers or the fathers what we call terbiyatul awlad, child's upbringing. The what we call the action might have been done.
Yes.
So, but it is better for us to start telling them at the places of worship, not only the place of worship, to take that evangelism to the hospitals by the religious leaders.
That's a very good suggestion. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Adams. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to direct that question back to you now, Pastor Begunde. Do you publicly preach against female genital mutilation in your religious institution, knowing that some people still culturalize this practice? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I'm asking that do you publicly preach against female genital mutilation in your church, particularly knowing that some people still have that cultural mindset that FGM is right and should be done?
Yeah, because in the voice, all over that person is.
All right. In your church where you worship, Do you publicly preach against female genital mutilation, knowing that there are people still with this cultural mindset that FGM should be done?
Yeah. I do preach against the genital mutilation in my church, and the message has been passed across to all of other churches too, because there is a body that governs all denomination, that is Christian Association of Nigeria, of which I'm the vice chairman. So, because of the danger attached to this genital mutilation, it has to be discouraged. That is why we made it, when we ask any gathering, you see, you use that opportunity to bring to the notice of the congregants. We emphasize much on the danger, so that when they know the danger attached to the party, they run away from it. Among the danger, we emphasize upon as anyone that undergoes genital mutilation, you will value in severe pain, shock, and bleeding, excessive bleeding. You know, excessive bleeding can lead to anything. And they are going apart from that. Infection, HIV, catarrhal
infection,
urinary tract infection, reproductive tract infection, and all the them. Problem of having sex, the heart will not be the genital has been cut away or partially cut. Difficulty urinating and menstruating, and the time excessive gas tissue, because of the danger effect of this evil particles. When they hear of this evil effect of FGM, definitely they will run away from it.
Thank you so much.
We do address our congregation without the topic of female genital mutilation.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to round off with this question for each of you, and I'll start with you, Dr. Adams. One is the role of religious leaders. I know you've addressed this earlier, but I'm taking it from the aspect of religious leaders who know that female genital mutilation is wrong, but they don't speak up against it. So what is the role of people like that, particularly within the religious institutions?
Thank you very much. I said earlier that, for instance, the kind of sermons that will be delivered in Central Mosque in Lekki or Ajaoria. Let me use where I come from Bodija, which is GRA. We're quite different from where my mother sell biscuits in Agbeni Market. And I told you that when you are inviting a scholar, you invite a certified scholar. There are scholars, quote unquote,
okay, that doesn't know that they have a lot of knowledge, but they're not necessarily certified.
What I'm saying is that there are some that the knowledge that they have is limited to a certain extent, but not as vast as those who are specialists in a particular field, like jurisprudence.
Okay,
even some people that we call afar, or who call that they are scholars, some of them do not even specialize in Islamic jurisprudence. But they are affairs to people.
Okay.
Some of them can only do the sermon, quotation from the Quran, quotation from Hadith, and at the same time back it up with Arabic poetry. And they are also orators in their languages. So they do that. But those who are certified, who are scholars of Islamic jurisprudence,
yes, that
consider they are Sharia legal practitioner. Those people are the ones that let me tell you one thing. When we are talking of organization is also biased at times. So if they don't have a particular scholar like that, they can just invite for one day and forget about it. But if in a particular organization it is being hammered and they have someone who will be telling them over and over, this practice is irreligious. and it should be abolished. Not that okay, it should be discussed. The point is, the remuneration at times is something that is even causing the problem that we have in religious settings.
Okay.
Are you with me? Now someone is a scholar. Are you with me? And you now ask that scholar to come from Ibadan to Abuja without being remunerated, and you are telling that scholar, whether it's a Muslim or pastor, that they are doing the work of God.
So you think this should be done better?
Education is not, because they want to, people should be educated.
Yes.
And you don't just get education free of charge. But if my organization is inviting a scholar to come and give us, there should be what we call train and retrain. So when you train those scholars in your own organizations who do not have that kind of, then they can now start training, the members of their organizations.
Absolutely.
Because you have invited an expert
to train them.
Okay. So that is my,
submission.
Submission.
All right. Thank you very much. Now over to you, Pastor Burgundy. I'm going to wrap up with you. And what do you think is the role of religious leaders, pastors, bishops, reverend fathers, particularly people who are educated enough and they know that this is wrong, but for some reason they're not willing to speak on it, or they're not speaking on it currently? What do you think that they can do in such settings, particularly because religious leaders play a large role in forming the mindset of people?
Thank you. You see, we have a vital role to have in abolishing this kind of evil practices. You see, now, like my brother rightly said, education matters a lot. You see, we need to sensitize our other colleagues by way of either retreat or seminar, of which genital mutilation will be one of the key topics. So when we address them of the dangers and the fact that the Bible has no basis in the Bible, and it is a thing you must go angry at you. So in that way, they will now know that it is their duty bound to carry their confidence along in putting it up to this genital mutilation. When you don't know anything about the study problem, the best thing is just to learn. Like my brother has said, education is part of civilization. You see, we will not limit ourselves alone on the cultural books. But there are other books which can broaden our knowledge in the handling this kind of cases. So, any opportunity you have to gather people together, you should encourage them that this genital mutilation has to be raised and seriously go against it. That is one of the things I think we can do. And again, we have to put more effort in completing this gospel to the topic of genital mutilation.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor Burgundy. Thank you very much for joining us today on Let's Talk FGM. And thank you to you as well, Dr. Akiola Adams. Thank you very much for spending time with us today on the program.
You're welcome.
All right. And this is where we wrap up today on female genital mutilation, religion, and female genital mutilation. This is where we end the program. And you've heard from both experts and practitioners in the two main religions in Nigeria. You've heard both their submissions, and you understand that to a large extent, there is no defense for female genital mutilation. So if you were one of those people who used to say that, oh, we do this because it's religion based, then you're very wrong about that, and you should stop the act. Join us on Wednesdays, 2 p.m. on Women Radio 91.7 as we further talk about female genital mutilation and condemn the practice. Let's just join hands to hands to stop female genital mutilation today. And to report cases, if you know anyone around you, any case around you, to report cases of FGM, call the number 0812 467 0069 0812 467 0069. And you can also go online and get more information on stopcut.hacy.org. stopcut.hacy.org. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's Talk FGM is an initiative of Hacy Health Initiative in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 and funded by the United Nations Trust Fund to end violence against women. Thank you once again for tuning in. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Good afternoon. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. WFM 917.
Àṣàkẹ́ yé sunkún omi ìrọ̀pẹ́ ṣe bí ìyá àgbà onígi ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún wọn.
Mi ò fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún ọmọ mi. Àwọn àdúgbò ẹgbà wọn ó fẹ́ dábẹ́ fún ọmọ ẹgbà wọn o. Àwọn ọmọ fẹ́yìn ló fẹ́ dábẹ́ fáṣàkẹ́. Ìyá àgbà mi gígan ni wọ́n sì pè pé kó wá dábẹ́ fún.
Ṣé ìjọba ti ní ọdún mẹ́rin ni? Ewu ti ní láti máa dábẹ́ fún mi.
Ṣé bí ìtọ́jú ọdún yẹn bọ̀ bọ́ lọ sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ọdún mẹ́rin nígbà ọ̀nà ẹ̀rọ ìmọ̀ràn ìtọ́wọ́ nínú gbogbo tí wọ́n fẹ́ tẹ̀ fẹ́ àwọn olè. Ìtọ́wọ́ pa sí mi.
Àti ẹ ti fẹ́ kọ́ mọ̀ yín kú. Àwọn ọmọ pọ́n tó léwu ni. Àwọn ìròyìn ọ̀làjú ló fẹ́ bá àṣà àti ìṣe wa jẹ́.